You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver media podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and The Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
Well,
I forgot to turn on the cameras.
Pardon?
I forgot to turn on the cameras. I'm not awake. I've been up since 4. I'm sitting here going, why aren't we? Oh, yeah, I got to turn the cameras on. It's a holiday, you know? I'm tired. Oh, I've got them started already. Holy shit, here we go.
Oh, God.
We're off to a flying start. Last day of the May 2-4 long weekend.
The cameras took a holiday. It reminds me of I went to go see a show at the National Arts Center. It was, Christopher, can't remember his name, but was doing an actual drag show at the National Arts Center.
Mm-hmm.
And at one point he comes out as Piggy Lee. And he comes out in this like silver long jacket like this, but back to the audience and opens up his arms and goes, "Oh, where did everybody go? What? Oh, there you are."
When's the Amanda Marshall show?
June 20th.
Okay.
Hello, kids.
I'm trying to remember what I got going on right now. My calendar is just stupid and I'm an idiot. Is it the 17th? The 12th is a Tuesday. Okay, good. All right. No, that's all I needed to know.
Okay, good.
It's my friend's 40th on the 17th is when we're celebrating, I believe. So.
Oh, happy early 40th. All right, let's try this intro one more time.
I'll fix it in post.
Oh, I'm seeing Doug and Chris would make a great sitcom, but I'm not sure who Chris is because I've missed some stuff. Okay. Anyway, we'll get to that. Okay, let's try this again. Well, hello, kids. And I can't do this.
No,
okay, let's try again. Well, hello, kits and cups, and welcome to Season 3 and Episode 124 of The Daily Beaver here on the Crier Media Network. Today, recording day is Monday, May 22nd, 2023, Vicky's Day. Yeah. And, well, it looks like it will be a beautiful spring day here at the Beaver Lodge. Sunny skies and 18. So, but it's Queen Vicky's day, so you might be wondering, where's Queen Beaver? Why is the Queen not wearing the crown on Queen's Day?
It's a Canadian
Well,
crown. It's a toque, dude.
I know. Number one, plus it works better with the headphones.
Yes.
It's got some height, right?
Mm.
You know, the higher the crown, the closer to whatever. But, you know, just for, because we know the kits and cubs love the bling. Little wave. Ooh, the wave's on the wrong side, so we'll use the other hand. There you go. There you go. All right. Yes, Victoria Day here at the Beaver Lodge. And I am doing really well. I'm your host, the Eager Beaver, pronouns he, him, hey, Mr. Beaver, hey. A year older, maybe wiser, not sure.
That's less important.
Yes, but 50 and 3 days is feeling quite good. Actually, you know what? I just figured, whoa. It wasn't just 50. It was a jubilee, isn't it?
50 golden years, yeah.
I was born a queen. So 50 years.
There you go. There you go.
Long may she reign. Okay. And with me, as always, is my dear friend, Mr. Grizzly. Of course, a big thank you goes to our podcast founding sponsors, the Pepper Master, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing and CanadianTarot.com. And, well, Mr. Grizzly, how's your mental health today, sir?
Good morning, Mr. Beaver. I am very. I'm in great spirits. Start off with that. Great spirits. Just tired.
Yes.
It's about 4, so I should be awake by now. Yeah, I should be awake by now. You know, I've been up long, but no, I'm not fully awake. I'm only on my second cup of coffee, and I haven't eaten yet because if I eat at this hour, it doesn't work well for me. So I'll eat a little bit later. But yeah, and I'm looking at the stuff I was supposed to do all weekend that I didn't do. I did nothing this weekend but chill out. Literally, that was it. Saturday, I woke up and realized I'm too tired to do anything. So I'm going to listen to my body and relax, which is what I did. So I sat and I read for a few hours. Then I took a few naps. And then I went out for a walk and decided that I wanted to have some wine with dinner. So I grabbed a bottle of wine from the wine store on Elgin Street. And then came home, had some dinner, had a glass of wine, watched a bit of hockey and went to bed. And Sunday woke up. I didn't sleep well. I tossed and turned all night. So, and I think it was the wine, of course. Sunday, kind of more the same. Just I got a couple things done. I was out in the afternoon, went for a nice long walk in the morning, had brunch at Zach's. I was feeling like a diner, a diner meal. So I went to Zach's up the street and then went for a walk after that. And then went over and sat on my buddy's porch for a couple hours while we solved all the world's problems. And I had a couple of pints. And then went over to a lady friend's place for dinner.
So you solved all the world's problems, had a couple of pints, destroyed the world.
Yeah, that's what we do. We burn it down nightly. That's what old men sitting on the porch do.
Yes. If we ran this place. Oh, man. Well, for my part, birthday weekend was just delightful.
Was just it a nonstop celebration?
In a way, yes. Because family, you have to understand, for the kids who don't know, I don't have much bio family of my own. My mom has passed away over 20 years ago now. My dad, well, I mean, I never lived with him ever.
Yeah.
I wasn't raised with him.
Do you know him?
Yeah, I knew him. We didn't have much of a relationship, but it wasn't, there was no animosity. There was just
nothing. It was just, yeah, there's nothing. Yeah.
Nah,
No love, no joy, no hate, no anger. Just
no, just
hi. You're a person. That's about
it,
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 right?
it. Yeah, it just. I mean, we tried, but
Mhm.
it just didn't happen.
Oh,
Um, my brothers and sisters, my half brother, I'm very, very, very close with,
hmm,
but I haven't seen him in a while because he's a single dad and
he's
working all
busy.
the time and lives far away. And but my brother and sister, again, I've never lived one day with them. Right. And
Right.
there's no history of watching Saturday morning cartoons together, or, them taking me out of lockers I may have been stuffed in. I wasn't,
Mm.
but had I been, uh, you know, so, again, life takes turns and,
Hmm. Hmm.
um, so in comes this guy into my life about 10 years ago, and I've never seen a family that close. They're always on the phone with each other.
Well, you consider what they left to come here, right? That would only
Oh
make
yeah.
them even closer, right? I mean,
Oh
they
yeah,
were under
absolutely.
Ceausescu for a long time, and he was a tyrant. So yeah, that
Yeah.
that I would expect nothing less. I mean, have you ever met an immigrant family that wasn't super close?
That's a good question.
I don't think you will. Because, they when they immigrate to Canada, they might have family here already, maybe
Hmm.
not, it's tough to say, or relatives or they might know somebody or whatever the case may be, but it's usually they're they're leaving their home country to try and build themselves a better life. So you would expect them to be as close as possible because all they have is each other, right?
Hmm.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
my take on it anyway. Maybe
Yeah.
I'm wrong, but
Yeah. And, now it's just him, his dad, and his brother. So, I mean, they're
mhm,
closer. Um, and, but it's kind of weird because I didn't really grow up with that. So, like, the first couple of years is like, we're going again.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's like, and it's like, if you like, you want to see them, like, see them all you want. They're your family, right?
mhm,
Like we're going again.
yeah.
It's like another birthday, really? You know, it was just weird wrapping my head around that because
Mhm. You didn't have it.
for
It was new to you. It was a foreign thing,
decades,
right? Yeah, yeah.
yeah, right. It's like
Mhm,
it's like I spend zero time with, I mean, with my mom.
mhm,
When she
mhm.
was alive, it was like any single second I could get,
Yeah.
right? Um, but that was an entirely different thing, we because I was growing up in foster homes. But this at first it was weird, I have to
Mhm,
say, right? And on top of that, you're going into an entire Eastern European family,
mm.
right? Like this, you're the great. I don't know what the word is, but you're the outsider.
The odd man out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you're living in Canada, but you're the outsider in that group, right? And so it's kind of, yeah, it was an interesting experience, and then it's like Christmas comes along and it's like, okay, turkey. Oh, this is easy. Okay, we don't do turkey. Okay.
Mhm,
So, which is kind of just all these different things, you never
mhm,
think of when you meet someone from a different culture, and then
mhm.
you go to their family. So it's been really great, but it's like now it's been 10 years, right? And there's niece and the nephew, and
Right, right.
they were both born before I came in, but they were so young that they don't remember a time where I was not in their lives.
Right. So, yeah, you're definitely Uncle
Yeah.
Douglas.
And I mean, they're just beautiful kids.
Mhm,
Just the nicest, smartest, kindest, happiest. These kids are loved, right? And it shows. Um, they're just joys. They've always been joys to be around with. So it's just, my heart is so full right
mhm.
now, right?
Well, I'm kind of, I think about it and it's like I share a similarity with you in a certain respect. It's because, we were Air Force brats, right? We moved
Right.
around the country a lot. I didn't grow up with extended family. I
But
mean,
the
I have family
adapting,
in Montreal that I was close to, but our family is, my immediate, my sisters, my mom, my dad. That was us. It was just the unit. And then because you're a military kid, and if you ever either served in the military or were a military brat like myself, Air Force brat, as we call ourselves. And brat stands for born, raised, and transferred, because that's what
I
happens.
did not know that.
Yeah, born, raised, and transferred. You tend to make lifelong lasting friendships as quickly as possible and learn to be malleable and fit in, because everywhere you go, you're the new kid, right? And I was the new kid frequently, more so than normal for my father's specific career. His chosen line of work was one where you might move 3 times in your career, but we were victims of the political system. And they're going to close this base. They're not going to close this base. We're going to send you there for the next 10 years. A year later, we're sending you there for 2 years. It's like, what? Yeah, so we were Toronto, and then 7 years in Cold Lake, Alberta, and then 2 years in Trenton, then 3 years in Gander, Newfoundland, then 4 years in Ottawa, then 1 year in Chatham, New Brunswick, then 2 years in Bagotville, and I'm like, I'm out. I left.
Then
And I came back to Ottawa.
That's like a foster kid being bounced from home to home to home to home, being the ping pong kid. And
I mean, the difference, of course, is I had my family with me the whole time, but my extended family, I love them, but I'm not super close to them, and some of them are kind of like they don't understand why, and I'm like, well, I didn't really grow up with you. I'd see you in the summertime when we'd go to visit, but I just don't have that tight bond, and I used to feel guilty about it, but like, no, why should I feel guilty about that? It's either there or it isn't. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I do love them, but I just don't feel that closeness because I didn't grow up with them. It's as simple as that,
My mother comes from a family of like 13 or 14 kids, and aunts, uncles. Well, I haven't seen any since the wake.
Here's Ree's comment. Also was a military brat. Her comment is it's a shitty life, and I'm not gonna address that because everybody has a different experience, right? Mine was fraught with turmoil at times, but the last line, I feel like an outsider most places. I still feel like an outsider. I don't feel like I fit in anywhere at any time. I always feel like an outsider, and I always will, even when I am included in groups. When people have embraced me and included me, I still feel like an outsider. I still feel like I don't belong, and that's never going to change. And I've tried to work on it with therapy, but it's like, no, it's branded on my soul.
You know what? Maybe it just hit me. Maybe that's why this works so well.
Maybe. Like I bond with people quickly, and that's easy to do, but I still feel like an outsider.
Yeah. But I mean,
I never feel like I belong.
Here we're creating a space. Like where we're not
for everybody to join. If you feel like an outcast, an outsider, if you feel alone, if you feel left out, if you feel like an imposter, come on in. The water's fine. Don't worry. I'm a lifeguard. I'll make sure you're okay.
No, that's kind of interesting, because it's different roads, but it's the same thing. Keep on saying I'm a weed. You put me in any environment. It's like, what's the rules? How do things work around here? Okay, fine.
Well, the dandelion is the official flower of the military kids. Because we take root wherever we go.
There you go.
And we get blown all over the country, right?
Yeah. But the thing I found is that later on, it made it very difficult to know exactly who I was. Because it's almost like code switching, right? Every environment you go to,
I grew up doing that.
Right? And then at one point, it's like you're out on your own as an adult, and it's like, who am I?
Well, the thing that's surprising to me is that I'm, and I say this in all sincerity, I'm surprised that more actors aren't children of military families, because your whole life growing up is an act. Because you're always trying to fit in everywhere you go. So you just learn to adapt to any situation. And code switch, I'd move to a place and they're like, you talk funny. So I had to figure out the local accent as quickly as possible so that I didn't sound like an outsider. Because the last thing you want to be is the outsider, right? Especially when you're, a kid. It's the worst. It's the worst to be an outsider when you're a kid. You just want to feel included. Yeah. My mom was always about be an individual. And I'm like, man, I just don't want to be an individual. The nail that stands out is the one that gets hammered down.
There's an age that's not cool.
Yeah. Did you
You know,
just want to blend in?
yeah, it's like that Marin Cadell song, "The Sweater," or something like that. It's like
Mm-hmm,
you're
mm-hmm.
looking for the boy of the boy of your dreams, which is the same boy of the dreams in all of your friends.
Yeah.
You're looking for
Yeah.
those alpine chiseled features. You know? But it's true. It's like, and it says, make sure that the sweater is brown or gray or blue. No, make sure it doesn't have like reindeer or something on it, because now you're dealing with a boy who's different, and different is not what you're looking for.
Not when you're young. When you're young, you
Yep.
just want to blend into the background for a large part. You don't want to stand out because you feel like that namer, that nail that's standing out. Somebody's going to come and hammer you down, and that happened to me a lot, throughout high school. But eventually, I, you know, grew to be this height, and I was one of the cool kids because I knew about music, and I
Mhm.
was a DJ, and I don't know, kind of good looking, I guess. I don't know. I'm not too ugly, so it worked out for me
Yeah.
in the end.
Yeah. Now, be the kid who dances.
No, I was the guy who made AV cool, believe it or not, because I knew about stuff that nobody
Yeah.
else did. But I wasn't. I've had this voice since I was like 15, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's always worked to my advantage.
I had a friend in high school, Alain. If he's, I don't know if he ever sees this, but who has a voice deep like yours.
Hmm.
Like in high school, and every time he'd like call home, my foster father would be like, "Why are grown men calling?" It's like, "This is my friend Alain." He's like, "He sounds like he's got. I can't help what my
I
friend
used
sounds
to I used to babysit the neighbors' kids, right? And this is the '80s, so I'd be there at the. I was finished high school and kind of trying to figure out what to do with my life. Because honestly, I'm 55. I'll be 55 soon. I've figured out what I want to do with my life, and we're doing it right here, right now. But it took me a long time to get here. So, I'm like 18 years old, kind of aimless. So I'm working as a bartender part time and I'm babysitting kids constantly. And the phone would ring at the house of the woman whose children I'm babysitting while she's out at the gym and running errands. The phone would ring and it would be her husband, and I would answer and I'd be like, "Hello." He's like, "Who's this?" "This is Paul, the babysitter." Like, "How old are you?" 18. "I live right next." Oh, I, I don't think we've ever spoke before. Hang up the phone, and she'd come home and call her husband, and like if you call him, she goes, "Oh, he thought the Latin lover had come over to visit."
like.
No, no,
As of the
no.
telephone, like sounding like Antonio Banderas.
Mm.
Hello. Yes, I am the babysitter. Yes, I am the babysitter.
Well,
What
if
is
I'm
that?
at my folks'
Oh.
place and my mother's like, "Would you get the phone?" I'm like, "Hello." And they're like, "Hey, Gord, just a second." "What? Huh?" Because my father and I sound just like alike one another, and both our middle name is Gord.
Okay.
My father's That's not his first name, but he's gone by Gord his whole life. I only found out a couple of years ago that my uncle Irv passed away about, oh my goodness, must be 10 years ago now.
Mm.
I only found out like 2 or 3 years ago that that was his middle name. I'm like, what? What? What is it with this family and calling everybody by their middle name? What's his first name? I don't even know what it is to this day. I still don't know.
Oh man. So it was a great weekend. I mean, family came in. The weekend plans had to change because we got rain on Saturday.
Mhm.
But I mean,
Rained
the,
yesterday here for
yeah,
about 45 minutes, torrential downpour, then the sun came out.
no, all day Saturday it rained. I don't think it rained at all yesterday here.
It was
Come to
gray and
think of it.
drizzly here Saturday, but that was
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, we had a little bit of drizzle. Yeah, and yeah, late in the evening, a little bit of drizzle when we were coming back from rehearsal. Um, but they came in. Everybody loved the paint job. They're
Mhm.
very impressed. My sweetie's dad loved the color in particular, which
Oh, awesome.
I chose. Yay! We did a little work around the house. Just a couple renovations. They're all very handy. So every time they come here, they fix some stuff, which is kind of
Mhm.
cool. Um, Board games with the kids and stuff because well, it was
Yeah.
raining, but that was fun. We went bowling instead. We were going to go for a little bit of hike, but we went bowling instead, which was lots of fun. Went out for dinner. came back. They weren't able to come to the choral concert, but because it was on video, on sale, so we watched it, and
Mm.
they enjoyed that. And yesterday they all went for a walk while I had to stay back because I had to study some lines because I had like not studied any lines at all since
That's nice.
Thursday 9 p.m. And it's like, how come you
Mm.
haven't gotten any further in the last 3 days? So I kind of crammed for about 4 or 5 hours while they went for a walk around the city and had some lunch out. And rehearsal yesterday, we got to do it on the stage for the first time because the set is about
Okay.
90% built already. They went super fast. It's not painted or anything, but all the plans just drawn and everything set up with the doors installed and everything. It was like, whoa. So, and yesterday I tried it for the first time without script in my hand at all because I
And
was supposed to be doing that Wednesday. It went well. I guess it went well in the sense that doing first and second act took a whole lot less time than it took before. We've never
mm.
started the second act before 8 p.m. and we started way before 8. And when we got there, we moved everything from the rehearsal hall onto the stage. So we actually started later, but finished earlier.
Okay.
So we cut a lot of time off. But I think I must have called for line about 70 times. And there's like, there were times where like whole like
Mm.
stretches like for about like 8-9 minutes, like things were going great. And then just hit a boom wall. It's like, I do not remember anything for the next 7 minutes. What are my next lines? And then, okay, here we go again. And that's like, hit another patch. It's like, I know this. How? And it's gone. So, but I mean, we're at the stage where all of us are having that. Like at one point, we like, I said something and somebody else said something, and then we ended up like taking like full 10 minutes out of the play. It's like, oh, we fast
Mm.
forwarded. um, but we are getting to the point now where everybody is pretty confident that they know that if they ask for line with a couple of words, they know what's coming next. That they are they're starting to give more on the performance,
Okay.
the little moments, like rather than standing there, the standing and like the little closer, the or those little things are kind of starting to come in. So they're becoming less two-dimensional. Like I'm moving
Mm.
in this space like this, and now I'm moving in this space like this. And oh my word, they are so good. My castmates are so good.
Cool.
Oh, it's so much fun. It's so exciting. It's so exciting. People are asking, what's the name of the troupe? It's not a troupe. It's Domino Theatre in Kingston, Ontario. So it's a local amateur theater, but that has its own building and its own theater. So they don't have to look for theaters. So they put on a season of 7 shows every year and a 1-act play festival as well. And I also happen to sit on the board of it, which is kind of cool.
Cool.
I help do their marketing because, I had some skills, and the last marketing person said, like, I really want to retire. I said,
Understandable.
I'll help. So yeah, so everything went well. It was a very, very beautiful weekend. Lots of love, lots of laughter, lots of, like I said, my heart is full. So it was a great birthday.
Cool.
And the choir director for whom I sing is also gluten-free like me, and she's actually making me a cake. So I will actually have a cake, all chocolate, all mine. Couple of days late, but I'm good with that. And I say I got some love from Kit Jen for referencing the sweater.
Yes. Yes.
You kids, you guys are wonderful. Sorry, the comments are going so fast I can't keep up with them. But thank you, and I will read them after the show. Trust me. So if you said something and I missed it, I'm sorry. But all of this actually ties into what a topic I actually wanted to raise. It
What's
seems
that?
that because we've been talking about the CBC, right? And a lot.
Mhm.
What value does it have? There's a new show coming on CBC called Aunty B's House, which is a sitcom for preschoolers all about life in foster care.
Oh, cool. When does that start?
It starts this fall. I'm going to read
Oh,
the
cool.
article. Actually, you know what? We'll show you some because they've got pictures in the article. There you go. So, Aunty, maybe blow that up a little bit. Oh, yeah. There we go. So, Aunty B's house, and these will be the three foster kids.
Oh, wow. Well, that's a cool idea.
So,
Inclusion,
and
right? Representation.
yep, and so they will be dealing with actual subjects.
Mhm.
Like, for example, in the clips I was hearing, it's sort of like, it was like, your shoes are old and whatnot. Like, why don't you want to get rid of them? Like this, and the kid has an outburst, angry. It's like, these are the last shoes my mommy gave me. They're special,
Mhm.
right? So they're going to
Yeah.
go there. They're going to
This
go there
could
with
be
this.
could be interesting. Could be a difficult watch for a lot of people. Sure, I'm sure. Bring up old memories that have been repressed for decades.
I listen. I heard I'm right now just
Mhm.
talking about it,
Yeah.
right? So I remember one year I got uh, a teddy bear after a long time not one, and like, oh, I still have it. I'm 50. I still have it.
Mm. Yeah.
I was
Well,
like,
it's because it's something that you had
you
an
know,
attachment to at that age. You can't let go of. I
sorry.
can understand that.
Ooh.
I can understand
So
that. Can we pivot there because it looks like this is going to be difficult for you. So, do you want to pivot or are
uh,
you okay?
no, I'm good.
Okay.
I want to read a bit about the show because one thing that they're hoping is that by people watching the show, people will want to become foster parents as
Oh,
well,
okay. Yeah. Yeah.
because there's a need for them. Um, So it says, I'm going to read from the article. A new kids show about growing up in the foster care system is set to debut this fall after recently wrapping shooting in Toronto. Kalila Brooks' Auntie B's House follows a foster mom and her crew of foster kids as they navigate difficult topics such as losing a parent and coming into the foster care system. But the show meant for a preschool audience is doing it with humor. The show is structured like a sitcom with 90s guitar riffs and kid-friendly punchlines, with the goal of helping all children understand that families come in different shapes and sizes. Um, the show was created by, like I said, Kalila Brooks was a foster kid.
Yeah. Yeah. She came from
So
the system. Yeah.
yeah, so she drew from her experience, um, yeah, growing up in the foster care system in Nova Scotia to create the character, because she'd see families on TVs, but they didn't tell her story, and
Yeah.
she was talking about the emotional disconnect that comes with that, because you see like, oh,
Can't
I
identify
don't know.
with any of it.
Yeah, and why don't I have that?
Hmm.
And then you stand out
Hmm.
when you're at school. Everybody knows who the foster kid is, and a lot of people assume that you are a problem child.
Hmm.
And some kids have health issues. Some kids have, whether health or otherwise or behavioral. But some kids, a single parent, get sick, die.
Hmm.
You have no place to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just that simple, right? So a
Circumstances
lot of
are
these kids
rarely
get,
they're not the child's fault.
yeah, just got all painted with the same brush.
Hmm.
So it's, I mean, the number of times in high school when, teachers found out I was a foster kid, it's like, and I got that, you're a foster kid? Really? As in, right?
Hmm.
I mean, what are you supposed to get from that? Right? It's like, why? What's wrong with being, it's like, so yeah, it was weird. And like me, she stayed into the foster care system until she aged out at 21. So it's, and it teaches kids. They're hoping to teach empathy to children who don't grow up in foster care as well, who might be watching it. Yeah, as Kitlin M says, you didn't fit their stereotype of foster kids, indeed. And it says they're hoping to show foster children that they're normal and their families matter also, but that a family can also be anything you make it. The showrunner, Kara Herron, says, I think it's really important to introduce them to what we as adults think of as harder situations and present them in a really normal way so that they realize that their situation may not be the same as someone else, but they can empathize and have compassion. So episodes will include stories about how the Tooth Fairy will find a recently moved foster child.
Interesting.
How will Santa find me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no kidding.
Just like, it's
an
just
actual
really,
concern
really,
for a child. Yeah,
yeah,
legitimate.
yeah. So, I'm really, really excited for this show. I'm really excited for this show. I think it's going to be a good thing. I hope people watch it. I really do. But when you're talking about CBC, right? What value? Here you go.
That's value. Yeah.
Degrassi was CBC, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. And you have to understand there's an entire generation of people who work in Hollywood who grew up with Degrassi.
Yeah. Well, Kevin Smith loved it so much he came and directed shows here.
Yes, he did. On the new generation, because he grew up watching the original, right? And he grew up in the new generation. Is it still on? I honestly don't know. But the next generation, the one with Drake originally.
Well, that one ended, and there have been a couple of others since then.
Okay.
The last one had been on Much Music, actually, or MTV. And then, but I think they had 3 or 4 seasons, and it's gone back every now and then. Like, it disappears and comes back, and so it seems to be in a bit of a lull now.
The second series they had lasted longer than the first.
Yes.
Like a number of 10 years like that.
Yeah, Degrassi Junior High.
Degrassi Junior. Yeah, the original was Degrassi Junior High, and that wasn't, I don't know how many years that was, but I remember when my sister wanted to watch that, and I tuned in to watch it, and I was like, I don't know who wrote this, because I was about, 14 or 15 at the time, and all I remember thinking was, I don't know who wrote this, but they nailed it.
Yeah.
They nailed it. Talking about, what it was like to go to grade 7. I'm like, yeah, I remember that.
Yep.
And they nailed it.
They nailed it. Trust me, Degrassi got me through a lot of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Well, Seriously. It was the antithesis to Beverly Hills 90210, right?
Right.
Because Beverly Hills 902 was complete fiction and fantasy. High school kids don't look like that. You also have to remember they were all about 25 at the time. So
Right. Oh, man. So, yeah. Oh, a new Degrassi is coming out for 2023. There you go.
Cool.
Says Kit Saucy. There we go. I'm going to have to look that up then.
Multi-generations of kids, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's such a great brand.
Agreed.
It's such
a great
brand.
Headlines. Can we discuss some headlines? We got one here. This is a quick hit. Jeffrey Epstein allegedly tried to extort Bill Gates over extramarital affair.
Yes.
The convicted sex trafficker, Jeffrey Epstein, appeared to threaten Bill Gates and tried to blackmail the multi-billionaire over his extramarital affair with a Russian bridge player, according to a new report published by the Wall Street Journal. What was her name? Maria Antonova or something like that? Antonova. Yes, Antonova. Trying to find her first name here in this story. Gates met Antonova in about 2010 when she was in her 20s and went on to play bridge with her. Mila Antonova is her name. Mm-hmm. And I've heard her described as the dollar store version of Greta Thunberg. I'm like, what? She's a number of years older than Greta. So weird. Mm-hmm. They look a little bit alike, so that's where everybody's going with that, I guess. I don't know, man. I don't understand humanity. And of course, there was the other headline this weekend about how Justin Trudeau confronted the Italian PM, who is a Nazi fascist pile of human fecal matter, and he scolded her for it. And what did our right-wing media in Canada do? Not stand up and say he did the right thing. They're going,
Oh, no.
look at he's a buffoon according to the newspaper, and this prominent newspaper in Italy. The prominent newspaper in Italy is basically Druthers. The Druthers Report. It's just a rag put together by her friends to prop her up.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, what picture did they post? The blackface one.
Oh, of course.
Of course they did.
Of course.
But it's astonishing to me that Canadian media, and I get that they're hedge fund, evangelical Christian owned Chatham hedge fund, right? Or Chatham Asset Management, which is a GOP supporting, Republican loving, fascist, I guess, Christo-fascist group. But obviously, it's shocking to me that any media company in this country would support a fascist. Like, and then chastise the prime minister for calling out and putting down the fascism.
Mm-hmm.
Like, some of the things that she's come up with, it's like same-sex parents. She's trying to eliminate them from being able to have or adopt children. Number
Mm-hmm.
one.
Mm-hmm.
Adopted children she wants to send back to the families that may have offered them up for adoption, because she doesn't believe that two gay parents is a good thing. And I'm like, what decade does she think this is? Like, where is this coming from is what I don't understand. And it turns out it's just decades of Christo-fascist evangelicalism that has been going on, waging war against all in this world that is good.
Yeah. Yeah.
They've been doing it for decades,
Yeah.
and they're starting to see the fruits of their labor pay off. And it goes back to Roe v. Wade. And as what was that one preacher who said, he came out and he testified to Congress. He said, well, we'll give you that, but the whole enchilada goes with it.
Shank.
Yes.
Yep. Yep. Indeed.
And that whole enchilada means next is they will ban contraception. First, they'll ban gay marriage, same-sex marriage, I should say. Same-sex marriage, they'll put an end to that. They'll strip people of their rights that have been fought for. They'll do that. Then they'll end what? They'll end cannabis legalization. They will end access to contraception because they need more human capital to plug into the system. But their bass-ackwards way of thinking does not account for the fact that between bots, AI, and automation, putting more people into the system is not going to fix the problem. Number one, to begin with, they want to kick out all DACA recipients, or people who qualify for DACA, are undocumented workers who basically the state of Florida will shut down. The state of California will come to a screeching halt. And if they expel all of the immigrants, refugees, and undocumented people, their economy can't handle it.
Mm-hmm.
Literally cannot handle it,
Mm-hmm.
because their economy is largely based on paying people less than a livable wage to prop up the wealthy. Well, and I'm not making this shit up.
Mm-hmm.
This is how it really is. So if they start kicking out all these undesirables, as they call it, and try to have more children who won't work in the fields and pick the fruits and vegetables in the state of Florida or the state of California, because that is for other people, is how many of them believe and act and behave. They're digging their own damn hole here, is what they're doing.
Yep.
And they're too stupid to realize it, or ignorant, or just don't give a shit.
It's just don't give a shit. It's I've got mine and fuck all y'all.
Basically.
Sorry for the language, because I mean, when everything's automated and then they don't need these people, well, they've already removed their health care.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's nothing waiting for them once they're deemed expendable.
Very true.
So, yeah. About the first thing you mentioned with the Bill Gates thing, that's kind of it's all very interesting how everybody seems to follow the Putin playbook.
Mm-hmm.
Compromat. That's all I will say on that one. Bill Gates apparently, from the reports rebuffed that opportunity, which didn't make people happy, and therefore he had to be destroyed. So they tried. That's apparently the story. So basically, if you collaborate with them, they get more dirt to keep you more in line. If dirt they have in the first place, right? That's what they tried with Jeff Bezos. Well, release these pictures. And if you don't cooperate, well, then they say, okay, well, then we're going to freaking try to destroy you. So either way, you get destroyed. So you might as well do the right thing. Right? There's like really nothing in it for you. Because one, they get you by the shorts and curlies, and the other one, they try to destroy your reputation. At least if they try to destroy your reputation, maybe they'll miss. But once they got you by the short and curlies, they got you. Play the odds. Do the right thing. It all, Bo the fifth column keeps on saying it always costs less in the long run to just do the right thing the first time.
Yeah, it's true. He's
just do the
absolutely
right thing. Just do the right thing. On the second one, the interesting thing about this, and it's almost the same thing that I've noticed with the foreign interference with China. It's China does something or doesn't do something, and it's almost like they're taking China's side. It's
in a
like,
weird
release
way,
all this information, like let's put all our source and methods out there. The government of China is trying to influence the government, and okay, maybe there's a Get Trudeau operation. Well, you know what? Instead of standing up for Canada, first let's get Trudeau, then we'll stand up for Canada. It's just like
what? How? Huh? I know, it's just so bizarre. I don't understand.
Here we are again. As the Prime Minister of Canada goes there and criticizes, calls her out, not for any reason, but for LGBTQ2S plus policies, like you say, right? Just very, very, very harsh positions. In March, gay rights activists denounced homophobic moves by Maloney's far-right-led government to limit recognition of parental rights to biological parent only in families with same-sex parents. The move would touch hundreds of families there. The government told the city of Milan to stop automatically recording both parents in same-sex couples on city registers. Because it was the last major city to continue the practice that had already been briefly adopted. After the High Court made it easier for gay people to adopt a partner's biological child in 2016. In a readout of the meeting sent by the Prime Minister's office, it says the leaders, quote, exchanged views on the importance of protecting and defending human rights, including the rights of 2S LGBTQI plus people. Now, we're talking about exchanged views. Okay. Exchanged views in diplomatic talk means you and me have to have a talk. Prime Minister Maloney responded that her government is following court decisions and is not deviating from previous administrations. All right. I don't know enough about the situation there to comment on who's telling the truth here. But what we have here, because Maloney, while a fascist, I want to be precise, had been in the past associated with fascist parties. She has apparently maintained the economic policies, hasn't changed them. She is still supporting the coalition of countries that are helping in Ukraine. So,
yeah, I know.
It's not stereotype, right? She may be, and I don't know enough what's going on there. But assuming that this part is true, we have a Prime Minister of Canada who has been the first Prime Minister to show up at a Pride parade, who apologized to the rainbow community for things that were done in the past, like strapping people to a fruit machine.
What?
Yeah, the fruit machine. You never heard about that?
No.
Oh no, back in the day, yeah, I think in the 60s, 70s or whatnot, they had this thing called the fruit machine where they put things in on people that they were suspected were gay, because back then they thought if you were gay, well, then you could be blackmailed, or, or you had to be rooted out. So, and then they showed you pictures of like things and see if your pupils dilated, if your pulse would, but they called it the fruit machine. Oh yeah, yeah, what? Yeah, yeah. They called it, they literally between themselves called it the fruit machine.
Never heard of it before. I thought you were
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about
yeah.
a penile plethysmograph.
No. There was a whole bunch of people were purged from the public service for being gay.
Wow.
Because they were rooted out before we had. Oh yeah, yeah. No, it's a big thing. It was a. I believe if you go to TV Ontario and look up the fruit machine, they did like a particular documentary. They have interviews with people in the military and everything. Some who resisted and some who gave up. A lot of people ended up committing suicide as a result, and I mean, people were being outed. People were being outed. It's yeah. So we have a prime minister who's going there, calling out someone who may or may not still be fascist adjacent on allegedly removing or rolling back LGBTQ rights. To us LGBTQ, well, maybe not to us in Italy, but anyway. And the coverage is, oh, the prime minister only calls out, of all the leaders, the prime minister chooses to call out, it's a female leader. Oh, look at her glare at him. I can understand that. The guy is calling out fascism. It's not criticizing the female leader of Italy, criticizing the fascist female leader. You forgot a word in that sentence.
Yeah.
Why are you strategically omitting the word fascist or suspected fascist or once fascist from that sentence in order to make this look different than what it was? It's kind of a key detail, isn't it?
They just want to score a point. But again, it goes back to the whole Christo-fascist, religious zealots who really don't give a damn about anything but winning, and winning at any cost. Any cost. And they don't care. And I'm like, they will burn this country to the ground if they can win. And they're trying to do it. And there's sadly a group of people who believe it, who believe that what they're doing is good and right and just. And it's like, no, it's not. I'm like, what is wrong with you? The Prime Minister of Canada called out fascism. That's the end. That's the story. That's it. Period. You should support that. My parents are Antifa. My grandparents were Antifa because they fought against fascism. Some of them in a battlefield. Others in the streets protesting for rights. I am proudly Antifa. I am anti-fascist. I will always be anti-fascist. BTW, there is no organization called Antifa. It's not a thing. It's just those of us who are anti-fascist. Pardon?
It's a way of being.
It's just a way of being.
It's like it's like if you are Antifa, you don't have to say you're Antifa. It's obvious. You don't have to declare. It's obvious in the way that you treat people. You just have to be.
Linda's comment here, I think, kind of nails it. They would have attacked Trudeau if he'd committed Canada to fighting Hitler. They just don't care. It's win at any cost, burn the whole country to the ground. They don't care. And this is the problem, and it was started by Stephen Harper by removing the laws around Canadian media ownership.
Yep. 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 And I agree.
It's where it began.
Yeah,
And
that's where it
it's
began.
been a precipitous drop since then because they have this mouthpiece of Christo-fascist, right-wing evangelical belief system that they want to force upon everybody. That's not freedom. That's not democracy. That's fascism.
Yeah.
We're in a dangerous place right now, and I do mean that sincerely. We're in a dangerous place. Our job, our role here at the True North Eager Beaver is to get true facts out into the public sphere so people can understand what is going on. And you know, some people will go, well, David Wallace, I don't know if I believe that. If 1% of what he says is true, and I believe a great deal of it is, because he was there, and by exposing this, he's put himself and his family at risk. So he's put a lot out there, right? I mean, so exposing these things, it's important that people understand where we are as a nation right now. And you got to understand too, when Harper was sworn in, he did so on a Bible owned by the PBCC, and all their leaders are in the front row. Documented history. It's not making it up. It's real. They were all there. You can look at the video clip.
Yeah. We happen to have Kit James here on the chat here. 90% of what David Wallace says has been proven to be true months later by mainstream outlets who never credited David Wallace.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. And we have Jen that says, we are all Antifa except for the fascists.
Yes.
And Kit James says, unfortunately, the Antifa brand is soiled. That is true. But whatever people would end up calling it afterwards would just be equally soiled, right? Because the other side's tactic is to take the words out of your mouth that you said, is stuff the words that they needed you to have said into your mouth, and then react to what it is they put into your mouth, claiming that you said, right? The whole take a knee thing, right? It's like, oh, no, they're not protesting police violence. They're like disrespecting the anthem and spitting on our military. It's like, no, we told you what it is. No, that's not what they're doing. What they're doing is but we told. Okay, so like take the black words out of my black mouth, take your white words, stuff them in there, say that I said that, and then react to that, which is like the ultimate in racism.
Oh, yes.
Right? So this is what's going on.
Well, and they go
we have people
the way they carried on about that too. They got to understand the way they carried on. This is a tradition that has been going on. No, the teams in the NFL were in the locker room when the national anthem was played. They only started bringing them out about 5 or 6 years ago. This is a new thing in the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
And I honestly still to this day, a friend of mine, we went to a Red Blacks match a couple of years ago, and he's go, why are we singing the national anthem at a football game when both teams are Canadian? I'm like, I don't know, honestly. If you know, it's the CFL especially, why are we singing the national anthem? It's not an international match. It's a 9-team all-Canadian league. Sure, I get there's American players, but we don't sing the American national anthem. So why do it at all? It's just a question he posed, and I said, you know what, that makes a lot of sense. And of course, when I sing the national anthem, I change a few of the lyrics.
Yeah.
Our home on native land. Let's keep our land glorious and free. It pisses people off, but I'm like, I don't care. You really think a deity is going to choose us over others? Why would we be so special as a nation that a supreme being would choose us over another nation to keep us glorious and free? I'll rely on our government and our military to do that. Thank you very much. And it is our home on native land.
I'm right with you. So we've got this thing that's going on where it seems that no matter what it is that the Prime Minister does, we're cheering for the other person, either by elevating the other. So it's not like the conservative press, when I say cheering for the other side, it's not like the conservative press is saying, go China, go China, go, right? Because they're saying, oh my God, China's terrible. But it's like every time they talk about it, China has always outsmarted the prime minister. China has always made the prime minister look small. China has always successfully.
Mm-hmm.
It's never the prime minister stood up. It's like, oh, look at him being made small. Look at him. It's Ukraine. We got a whole section of people that are saying, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? And it's like, the prime minister was at the G7.
Mm-hmm.
There were lots of commitments that were made. We didn't make a special commitment at this G7, but we said that one was coming. Zelensky hints at it rather than, oh, great. Our prime minister, we're the country with the largest Ukrainian diaspora outside of Ukraine. The prime
Mm-hmm.
minister is like, there you go. Great. Standing up for people, standing up for democracy, standing up for defending sovereign borders, for the principle that you just don't walk into another country and say, yeah, this is mine now. Right. And it's like, why is he not standing up for Canadians first? Standing up for the principle that you just don't walk in. Do you know who we live right under? Right over? Well, right. And
meth
it was
lab.
above us. If you cross, well, under if you're, you cross.
Mm-hmm.
We're sandwiched between Russia and the United States. We're literally the meat. Like when it was Putin and Trump, we were literally the meat in a fascist sandwich. Okay. And it's not like our battalion of beavers armed with lacrosse sticks and curling brooms are gonna help us hold out against Russia or the United States should it turn on us.
Mm-hmm.
Because we kind of learned with Trump, we got not necessarily depend on them anymore or take for granted that we can. So we might have to adapt.
Yeah.
Right. So instead of saying, standing up for the principle of sovereign borders, that's in Canadian. Like, why is he spending all this money on Ukraine? Why isn't he dealing with Canadian problems? It's like, if you're not going to stand up for territorial sovereignty, I mean, if you're not considering that
you can't national win,
interest, right? So, but it's like, where is this going to end? And then it's sort of like, oh, Zelensky says that aid is coming. I guess it's nice that he knows before we do. It's like, we said we'd be with them until it was successfully completed.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, there's another aid package coming. Thank you, Mystery Theater 2000.
I know it. The absurdity of it all, though, right? I can't believe we're spending more money. Oh, so we're going to sit idly by and let a warlord fascist take over a country, invade a sovereign nation, and just take it over because he wants to? We're not going to do anything to help? That's not who we are as a people. It never has been. We were always the first into the fight. The Iraq War was the only one where we weren't the first in because it went, hold on, wait up. And I was a little, admittedly, talking to American friends, go, look, I'm sorry, man, I don't know what Chrétien's doing right now. Well, as it turned out, he did the right thing. Mm-hmm. Because it proved, we've all later found out that there was no need. Well, to begin with, why did they go to Iraq? Iraq didn't attack the United States of America. It was the Taliban, right?
Right. But it was also
not even the Taliban. It was Al-Qaeda under,
right.
It was, anyway.
Yeah. And it was also, I always say it's a daddy issue.
Oh, yeah. He went after my daddy.
The job daddy. Yeah. Want to make daddy proud. But the other thing also was also proof that we actually did truly have an independent foreign policy, just because ours seems to coordinate or dovetail in with the Americans 98.97% of the time doesn't mean that when we see something wrong, we saw something, we said something. Yeah, not this one.
This is a great quote.
Yeah.
This is a great quote.
Stopping
fascism costs money? I guess we let the fascists win.
Yeah. We can't spend on that. That'll contribute to inflation.
You know, Sippy's going to say that.
That's a social program. We don't believe in that. Yeah. So while we have the prime minister calling out a fascist in Italy for wanting to stomp all over some LGBTQ rights here, we have a situation as well in New Brunswick that we talked about on a previous show. In New Brunswick, we're having the same thing that happened in Alberta a little bit under Jason Kenney. There was a policy that was passed about 3 years ago, Paul, called Policy 713, which was put in place to protect, I'm going to say, rainbow kids. Because
all under the rainbow.
LGBTQ2S, I'm including the I, the S, whatnot.
Yeah,
I
we
like
don't
just
want to
say
leave
rainbow.
anybody out. So,
Right.
rainbow kids.
And if you identify, this is for you. In the news, we're hearing there's some misreporting, but not intentionally, just not precise. So, for example, I heard a report on CBC today that said that the Policy 713 says that schools must have gender-neutral bathrooms. Now, when you say it that way, it makes it sound like schools must have only gender-neutral bathrooms.
You left part of the conversation out.
Every school must have at least one gender-neutral bathroom. So
washroom.
probably a bathroom with just, or washroom with one, right, stall behind a door, right?
Most of them have that right now anyway.
Exactly, but sometimes it might be in the teacher's area.
Yes, that's usually where it is too.
Or something like that. So if it's not in one of the main ones, but that's accessible and that the kids can go to, right? But when you say schools must have gender-neutral bathrooms, that sounds like schools must now have gender-neutral bathrooms to the exclusion of any other kind. So just some little imprecise reporting, right? That makes people
fires them up.
Must have at least one gender-neutral bathroom to which kids could go. Things like they can't have their names changed on official documents without parental consent until the age of 16, like the report cards. But if in class they choose to identify by another name or have pronouns, the teacher should do that and does not have to report that back to the parents. That's the one specifically that people are having problems with. So you got the premier talking about, well, the parent should know, And it's like, again, well, we need to look into that. If the parents should, there might be a reason the parents don't know. Number one.
Yes.
Number two, is this your information to tell?
No, it's not. A lot of, I can understand that a lot of kids would want to hide that for fear of whatever type of backlash. Maybe their father is a homophobe, or the mother. I don't know. Maybe they're extremely religious household where that is just completely unacceptable to them, and you will end up on the streets. We don't know. Everybody has a story. And unless they share that story, we don't know. So let's just be respectful of why they want to be called what they're called. And if they want to keep that to themselves, that's their business. And you still have a right to privacy. Do you know?
And
have we thrown that out?
And you have a right to association as well. So if you want to form a GSA, you can, right? And this is not about not forming GSAs, right? It's about, this one seems to be specifically about transgender kids and not so much the gay kids, right? So they're saying, the policy encourages teachers to use gender-neutral language in the classroom as much as possible. And that doesn't seem to be a problem. All seems to be about the issue is that if the child is asking to be referred to as John instead of Joan, but the parents need to be aware of that. And it's like, no.
Well,
They don't. They
I
don't.
have a
And
clip of this here. We'll show this in a couple minutes here. Keep going. Keep going. I'm just
okay.
putting a comment up on the screen.
Okay, so we have there's a lady named Gail Costello, who's a retired teacher who ran the GSA at the Oromocto High School for a decade, and she helped write policy
Hmm
713. And she says it's important for the kids to be able to use the name that they feel more comfortable with. It's good for their mental health. She mentions that she herself, that this policy is about the safety of these kids, because she personally has taught kids who have been kicked out of their home for being rainbow,
hmm Yeah.
sleeping on park benches for days for having been outed. And one of my favorite singers and artists of all time is Cyndi Lauper. Like this, not
hmm
only because she's a great artist, but also because she's an incredible ally. I think the Advocate magazine one year named her like the number one ally. She's like, she really latched on to the issue of homeless gay teens. About
There's a
40%
lot
of
of them.
street youth,
Hmm
40% of street youth is rainbow
Yeah. Doesn't surprise me at all.
in some way. So she has like a Give a Damn Foundation. She has a Home for the Holidays Christmas concert, and she raises money, and she's always pushing the Give a Damn Foundation. Um, you know, if a kid, I and I, I understand that there are legit concerns that parents can have, but the thing is that it's not. It's the kids coming out, whether as transgender, as gay, when you're coming into your own. It takes you so long to figure out yourself
Hmm
who you are,
Oh,
and then to
yeah.
come to accept that and to come to live that, right? And you go through
It's
all
an
of
inner
that.
turmoil. Like it's got to be like a struggle that I'll never understand.
Yeah. And then like my mother was love on two legs.
Hmm
And I was 98, again, 0.97% sure
hmm
that everything was going to be fine. But I've seen situations where people were fine with it outside, but not in my house,
Of course, yes. Yeah. Public
right?
face, right?
So you get the message again, okay, and then you turn around. So, whoa, I didn't see this coming,
Hmm
right? So, um, that information, when you are not the one who gets to share it first, and it gets out there, it's like it does something to you. It does something to you.
hmm
Like, and the problem that I'm having with the premier here is that when he says it's that sort of belief that parents don't need to know, to suggest that it's okay that parents don't need to know. I mean, stop to think about that question. You're putting a concern of a parent above.
The welfare of the child. Yeah.
The
Brutal.
priority is wrong.
Hmm
This is not about the parent's right to know. This is about what is best for the child. Now, if you have a situation where a child is feeling so whatever about this that they are harming themselves in some way, you're already obligated to report
hmm
that type of stuff if you see abuse or self-harm, or right. There's nothing that changes if the reason for that has anything to do with gender dysphoria, or not knowing where you are, trying to figure yourself out, or just being questioning.
hmm
Maybe you're not transgender or gay like this, but maybe you're wondering.
Well, and we all go through a curious phase to a certain degree, some more so than others, like where you just, you know, I knew at a very young age that I was attracted to women and girls. I knew at a very young age. I saw a pretty girl in a bikini and I felt a special way. Honest to goodness truth. I was maybe, I liked looking at women in bikinis when I was an infant, a toddler. I still like looking at women in bikinis at this age. I mean, come on. That's never going to go away. I am who I am. But it didn't mean I didn't have struggles with identity to a certain degree. And like I never had a struggle with my sexual identity. Uh, when you're that young, you know what you're attracted to, but you don't know what it means.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the whole sort of super Catholic family that I came from, where it was always questioning them, like, am I allowed to be attracted to girls? That sort of thing. Like
Mm-hmm.
you wondered if you could express to your family that you think that girl is really pretty.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a bit of a struggle for me because I'm like, am I going to go to hell for this? Am I going to get in trouble for being attracted to her? This is the honest to goodness truth. So we all have a struggle, an identity struggle of one type or another at that age. And look, I would not want to be a teenager ever again for all the money in the world. Forget that nonsense. Nope. No, thank you. And I had a pretty good teenage life. Don't get me wrong.
Same here. But,
don't want to go back and do it over again. And I know more now than I've ever known at any point in my life. And what I know is this: I don't know a damn thing about anything. The more I learn, the more I realize how little I actually know. So I'm very confident with who I am at this stage of my life and how I live my life. And I walk a line a certain way, and I try and walk in my father's footsteps and, choose the moral, proper, I don't want to say high ground, but, that line where I guess it was this. Look, let me try and boil it down to simplify it if I can. My father was in the military. When you put that uniform on, you walk a certain way, period.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You observe all the rules, all the laws. You show respect to everybody. You are respectful, period. You salute. You do that when you put that uniform on.
Yes.
So I was taught to walk like that in my life, period.
Right.
I haven't always done it. I've made a ton of mistakes. I'll continue to make a ton of mistakes, but I still have that moral guide point of show respect, be respect, stand up for others. Choose your battles, right? You can't take part in every single one. You can't. Putting yourself in jeopardy could be harmful to somebody else in the long run. So you have to be careful and choose your battles. And as you get older, you learn to pick them. Sometimes I pick them at the drop of a hat. And not planned, but hey, it happened.
Hey,
it's I don't deny it. It's part of who I am. I will always stand up for others, and I will always take that high road when it comes to making sure that those around me that I love and respect, or are just simply friends with, are able to try and enjoy the same sort of privilege that I have. I know not everybody's going to get it. I understand that, but I was born into this body and this skin. I had no choosing in it, but I was handed a lifetime of privilege. A lifetime of privilege. And just, I'll cite a simple example for you. I remember I was outside of a football game, and we're standing outside of a restaurant in Lansdowne, and I just looked at my buddy. I go, yeah, I really gotta take a whiz. And this young woman on the bench goes, you're an older white man. Just walk in and use the washroom. Nobody will say anything to you. And I stopped and I said, you're absolutely right. And I'm not going to do that. She just looked at me and I said, I'm not going to do that because it's wrong. It's wrong. I know I can. I know I can get away with it. I know nobody will question me, but I'm not going to do it because I know it's wrong. There's a lineup waiting to get in. I have to wait my turn. And she was shocked. I'm like, lady, it's just how you live your life. It's not special.
Yeah.
You just, you walk that line.
It's like
line. Putting on the uniform, walk the line.
Yeah.
And I hold military members and members of the military in this country to a higher standard, because when you put that uniform on, you have to walk that line. And I've talked to friends of mine, retired military, who are like, Paul, I completely agree with you. You put that uniform on, you are in service of the nation, and you need to represent in the nation 24/7, 365 until you die. Once you put that uniform, you are always representing Canada.
Mm-hmm.
So walk the line.
Yeah. 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 Some wisdom there. And when you say, you got everybody that hooked onto you, you know that you don't know things.
Mhm.
But that's not how not you don't know things, but that anyway, you got, I'm misphrasing it, but you got Kit James going, wisest are those who know they don't know. And you got Kit Mohan here. If you don't know, then what do you really know? And you're making me think of Erykah Badu, right?
Mm.
The man that knows nothing, the man that knows something knows that he knows nothing at all. So it was like that line of, as soon as I heard that line once, it's like, no, you don't know nothing. You know something
Mhm.
that you don't know anything. That's the one thing you know. And it's true. It's true. We don't.
I like Jen's comment here. Get
Which
in,
one?
loser. We're breaking generational traumas.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. Yeah. Okay. Oh, Kid James' quote was Plato. Well, there you go.
I'm,
Or
I'm trying
Plato.
to. For some reason, Restream is acting really slow on posting comments this morning, and I have no idea why. Oh, that might be why my CPU is running at 99%.
Oh my.
Yeah.
So just to finish off the story in New Brunswick, um, the thing is that that lady, the retired teacher, Gail Costello, went on to say, if a kid tells us that their parents are not accepting and that they would get thrown out of the house or they might be abused physically or mentally if parents knew, then it's important that we keep their confidence and keep them safe while they are in school. And it's only natural that kids who are fluid or rainbow will come out to their friends first,
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. Yeah.
right? They are who they are with their friends. And then they come home, right? When you start leaving the home and start going to school, you start developing who you are at school and who you are at home, right? And there's a lot of kids that are, you know, I saw a mention of double life. There's a lot of kids that are leaving double lives. I remember like the time, where I knew I was gay, but I hadn't
Mm-hmm.
said it to any adult yet,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then later on, when you know you're gay and then you haven't come out yet, especially back in the day, what did you do this weekend? Oh, I hung out with friends,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or everybody's telling you everything that they've done, and it's like, I hung out with my friends and good. Okay. Oh, that sounds nice. But I don't go into it because, right. So everything gets a little sanitized so there's, yes, but then there's, yeah, it's only natural that you're going to come out first to your group of friends and whatnot, and then you grow the confidence from that, to come out to a wider circle. So if you take the fact that you happen to have this privileged information because you've seen kids interact with their friends 7 hours a day as their teacher, 5 days a week, and you take that information, and it's not information that has anything to do with self-harm or harming others, and you take that, and it's not your information, and you share it, and you don't know what the consequences of that will be for the child. That's right. And the thing that bothers me most about this is that this policy. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't hear you anymore, Mr. Grizzly. I don't know if the kids do. Kids, if do you hear Mr. Grizzly? All right, I'll keep talking and then I'll wait. So the thing that bothers me about this policy is that, okay, the kids can't hear you either, Mr. Grizzly. The thing about this policy, can you hear me though, kids? Yep. Okay. So, okay, Mr. Grizzly's on silent, but I'm okay. Okay. So the thing about this policy that is bothering me is that to justify the policy review, the public was told that it was prompted by hundreds of complaints. So the child and youth advocate of the province asked for records of those complaints so that an analysis could be done. And the Department of Education, of the alleged hundreds of complaints, sent only uno, dos, tres. Un, deux, trois. 3 emails. 3 emails that the Department of Education received over a period of 13 months. So, the child and youth advocate asked for a record of the alleged hundreds of complaints. They were given 3 emails by the Department of Education that were received over 30 months, all with unsubstantiated claims. One of them allegedly being concerned that kids were identifying as animals and using litter boxes at school, which again makes me say, what the hell is the deal with these people and rainbow people and animals?
I don't know.
We can't
It's really
legalize gay
bizarre.
sex because then they're going to want to be screwing their dogs. We can't legalize same-sex marriage because then they're going to want to marry their dogs. We can't legalize calling kids by whatever name they want or pronouns because they're going to be using litter boxes. What the? It's the same damn thing every freaking decade.
Mm-hmm.
The constants are the same. The variables change, but it's the same damn formula. What is it with these people thinking that we want to do it, marry, or be?
I don't know. It's just truly bizarre. It's truly bizarre. Where do they come up with this crap? Like, so who's whispering this into their ear? Somebody is. It's just, I don't get it. I don't
They
get
think
it.
about gay sex more often than I think about gay sex, and they certainly think about bestiality way more than I ever have. What is wrong with these people?
It's funny because it's true.
And because I don't slut shame, let's say I was very sexually generous in my heydays.
Yeah, it's somebody's got to do it, right?
It's a dirty job.
Somebody's got to do it.
No, it's not like I haven't thought about it. And they think about it more than I don't. What is the deal?
I don't know.
I mean, what was I?
I'm getting a coffee.
What do these people think we do? I mean, weed is legal, and I feel pretty stupid for not firing up attachments in my bong yet. Just don't get the munchies and put one between your hot dog bun. Jeez. No, seriously, man. I don't get what's... anyway. Yeah. So, 3 emails. So, when you're taking 3 emails and telling the people, this is the Education Minister, Bill Hogan. When you have received 3 and then say we've received hundreds in order to justify a policy review on the basis of parents need to know, which the only outcome could be, if we're making a change, is now we're going to out these kids
Mm-hmm.
and not consider, when we're looking at this, take the right of the parent to know in a situation where a child is not in a situation of self-harm or harming others, that they are at this point in their lives, versus what can happen to that child if that information, the right of that to be the first to tell their parents that information doesn't come from them. And being more concerned about the parent. I mean, that's a lot of...
Mm-hmm.
What, hundreds? And they got 3, and one of them has the litter box thing, which, I mean, should have just been... I mean, you can't crumple it and throw it into the litter box. or line a birdcage with it, because you received it, so you got to log it, but that
The
should
amount
be
of people that
be
believe
put
that,
in the
though.
let's not take this seriously pile.
Well, the amount of people that believe that and say it's real, I've seen it. No, you fucking haven't, because it never happened. It never happened. Never. But hey, their narrative, as long as they get to paint that narrative, they'll continue to do it because they don't give a shit who gets hurt in the process. And people do get hurt in the process. Lies hurt people.
Yeah, they do. They really do.
But they don't care.
Huh.
They don't care.
No. A little bit of news about Alberta and situation going on over there. Christy Tucker of the Alberta Wildfire Information Unit, she's the manager, stated, while we're optimistic that the forecast rain will be enough to make a difference to some wildfires in the province, we are not out of the woods yet. Interesting choice of words. We will continue to be vigilant for new starts, work hard on bringing existing wildfires under control, and plan ahead for whatever this summer will bring. Last I had heard, there were 84 wildfires in the province, which is down because the last time we reported was over 90, with 23 of them out of control. That's similar. I think it was 24 when we were here on Friday. A dozen provincial campgrounds and recreation centers in the province of Alberta have closed. Open campfires and ATV use in forested areas are forbidden at the moment. Smoky conditions in certain areas have prevented air tankers and helicopters from providing any aerial firefighting ability. On the upside, it seems that that type of smoke, that level of smoke, by blocking out the sun, can contribute to lowering temperatures. But it's not good. It's not good. There's a place called the East Prairie Métis settlement, or that's referred to as that. In the early stages, fire passed through, and about 30 structures were lost, and there are blazes back around like a few kilometers away from it again. So one area may be affected twice in a couple of weeks. Year over year, the number of fires recorded, new fires started over the long weekend, is down. So it seems that some of the measures are working, but there are just so many fires at this point.
And they cut the fire budget by what, 19 million or 29 million or something like this?
And they cut the repellers.
Yeah.
The guy who had a drinking issue was the guy that recommended. And
They cut it?
trouble maybe keeping hands to himself as well. Was the guy who recommended, and they took his advice.
Yeah, that
probably took his advice before they knew that about him, but yeah.
Let's not hold that against him. The drinking problem, because that's an addiction, right? Let's not hold that against him. The handsy thing, yeah, that's not good.
No, the premier's office is being sued because of him.
Well, all they found was a way to save money.
Yeah, but you're right. The alcohol, yes. I retract that. I retract that. That was not fair.
We're only human. We're going to make mistakes, right?
That was not fair. Over 10,000 evacuees are still a situation for 10,000 people that they're evacuated. Over 1 million hectares have been burned, which is an area larger than 1.5 times the size of Prince Edward Island.
Wow.
As a comparison, in 2016, the Fort McMurray fires burned 600,000 hectares. In 2019, there was 900,000 hectares. In 2023, was over 400. The other 5 years in between that, cumulatively, 400 hectares. We're at 1 million hectares over. And it's May 22nd, and forest fire season goes to October.
Well, that could be problematic.
This is going to be by far the largest raising of trees
Well, and it's not
and
like
at least
Alberta
the last
has a
decade.
ton of trees to begin with. I mean, there's stretches of Alberta where there's nothing but fields.
Yeah.
Nothing but fields till you get to the mountains in many cases.
So yeah, and up in the Northwest Territories, the Hay River Fire, as of Saturday night, still was not under control and was last mapped at just under 3,000 hectares. They had some light rain in store in BC. As of Saturday, there were 83 active fires with 27 out of control there, with thunderstorms expected.
Uh,
I don't know,
that's
man.
not good.
And there was this graph I saw on the weekend. I think of all the nations in the world right now, Canada has the 4th worst air quality
Yeah,
presently as a result of this.
that's not good. See, and I mean, honestly, when are they going to say, okay, look, let's just put this election on hold for the time being and fix this problem? This is bad. They've already had 2 million, almost 2 million hectares burned, one third of the way through the fire season. Yeah, this is not good.
Yeah.
Is there going to be anything left? Like, I mean, how many homes have been lost? You know, how many people have been forced into literally refugee status right now?
Yeah. It's just wild. A couple of other things going on. New York is sinking.
Yeah, I heard that. So they're 1.3 trillion tons, I think, is what the weight is on the bedrock, and it's starting to drop.
Yep, by about 1 to 2 millimeters a year.
Which is slow, but
as
it's at sea level, right?
water is rising.
Yeah. They're sinking and the water's rising. They're going to have to start building. There was a plan to build an entire wall around the island of Manhattan.
Oh.
And that plan is from 50, 60, 70 years ago or something like that. It's not a new thing. They might actually have to do it this time, because when hurricane season hits and New York does get hit with hurricanes, look at all the flooding they had over the last few years.
Yeah. It's going to be
New York Eanes is sinking, man, and I don't want to swim.
I mean, it's thinking of, what is it? Is it Prairie Oyster? No, Spirit of the West.
No.
Venice is sinking.
Oh, no. New Orleans is sinking.
New Orleans is
tragically
sinking.
hit.
Well, that's tragically hit. Yeah. I always think of the Spirit of the West song. Did you about that one? Did you know that when Katrina hit, it seemed that because the tragically hit never got a recording deal in the United States, but the few, I guess, radio stations in the States that knew about them, I guess, are playing like this. Apparently, they banned that song during that period.
Really?
Yeah, they were just not playing it. No.
Yeah. Hurricane Sandy did do some severe flooding damage on New York City. There was a lot of train platforms, subway platforms that were completely flooded out.
Yeah.
And there was water in the streets of Manhattan. And I don't know if you've ever been to Manhattan. I've been many, many times. I love it there. It's great. Mm-hmm. It's a place you should see at least once in your life. But they're going to have to attack this problem. And they're going to have to do it sooner rather than later, because they just keep building more buildings and more tunnels. And I mean, look, you got to build up because you don't have the opportunity to build out in Manhattan. People are going to continue to move there. It's the financial hub of, the Western world. And I'd say, between London and New York, they're the financial hubs, right? Then you have sort of tax havens like Bermuda and some of the islands in the Caribbean and that. But I mean, the financial hubs of the world are London and New York. So what are you going to do? Let it sink? No, man. There's 8 million people that live on the island of Manhattan alone. 8 million. And more people move there every day.
Yeah. I'm wondering if they're going to have to start experimenting when they're doing retrofits, trying to use much lighter but still resistant materials.
Carbon fiber,
remove some of the weight.
Graphene, carbon fiber. Graphene is stronger than steel and concrete and much lighter weight, right? But it's very expensive to manufacture. It's not scaled up yet. graphene is a relatively new product. It's less than 20 years old, and they're experimenting with it all the time. Carbon fiber is incredibly strong. They use that in Formula One cars right now.
So just like the value proposition might be getting better, because if things are sinking every time you have to deflood the subway and whatnot, might be make the value proposition a whole lot more attractive all of a sudden.
We'll see. I mean, there is. I remember reading a report a couple of years ago about how we're losing sand.
Yeah,
because it's used for concrete, and there once beaches around certain African nations that the beach keeps shrinking because they're pulling the sand to use for concrete. I'm like, is that like a bad thing? They're like, yes, that's a very bad thing.
Yeah.
So we just keep using our natural resources to the point where we're going to kill the planet because, hey, somebody's got to get paid, right?
Happier news. The Canadian Music Hall of Fame had their inductees for this year. One of them is legendary Quebec singer Diane Dufresne.
No idea who that is.
70. Ooh. Diane Dufresne was Madonna before there was Madonna.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Big elaborate shows, big costumes. She was one of the only Quebec-based artists to actually perform concerts in her heyday when she was at her prime at the actual Olympic Stadium.
Oh, okay.
Because she was so big. She's sort of like Marie-May right now, who fills the Forum.
Well, it was the very first Quebecois francophone band to ever sell out the Forum was... Do you know who it is?
Offenbach or Harmonia?
Yes, it was. Yeah, Offenbach.
Okay.
I used to know the drummer from Offenbach. He dated a roommate I had years ago. She says, I think you'll like this guy. I go, yeah, I meet him. And stupidly good-looking man. I told you about him before on this show, I believe. Yeah, Offenbach, yeah. Seulement qu'une aventure. So, I just watched a movie about Jerry Boulez recently on some streaming service. It was good. It was a biography, and the guy who played the part looked a lot like Jerry Boulez. It was a really good movie. I really enjoyed it.
Neat. Yeah. Neat. So yeah, the Hall of Fame inducted 4 musical acts. One of them, and a lot of these, I have to say, I'm really surprised that they were not there before. Like Diane Dufresne, I'm surprised. Mm-hmm. She's not.
Maybe because she's not well known outside of Quebec, possibly.
Possibly. I believe she did tour France as well. She was played the Olympia in France as well.
Let me rephrase it. Not known outside of the Francophone community.
No, not known. No, definitely, especially not in that area. But I mean, she's like, she was the thing. Mm-hmm. The thing. But also, and this one will make you happy, jazz pianist Oliver Jones, who amazingly was not in the Canadian Music Hall of Fame already.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah. So
he's from Halifax, if memory serves, correct? Isn't he from Halifax?
Believe so.
I featured him on the jazz show. I got to put a new jazz show. I haven't done one in a few weeks. I mean, after the Connie Hines show, I kind of went to sleep on that. But
Jones was born in Montreal. It's Little Burgundy neighborhood.
Okay, I'm thinking of somebody else, and I'm getting him mixed up with somebody else. Oh, no, I know. And Oliver Jones, his Oscar Peterson's sister was Oliver Jones' piano teacher.
Ah, there you go. And he was talking about how he had a jazz novelty act because he could play the piano from underneath and do splits, stuff like this. And then for his grand finale, he would put like a dish towel over the keys and play. So, it's amazing how like people sort of like get their start. Country singer Terry Clark.
Oh, okay.
Was admitted, and she said that something like she feels that she's been admitted to a club that she's now waiting to be kicked out of.
Yeah.
And
what the hell am I doing here? Yeah.
And the rock band Trooper.
About time.
Yeah, he was introduced by Rick Mercer saying that I believe he said he remembers pretending being sick from school, so he could stay home and go into his sister's room, play "Raise a Little Hell" out loud while he was singing into his Avon Superbrand brush. And that he was convinced then that it was the greatest rock anthem that had ever been made, and he still believes that today.
I have that on 45. I bought it when it was a hit record. I'm not kidding. I still have it.
Ah, I think it too. It's like, and like the like the first lyrics, right? Is like, if you see something wrong, you should write it. It's like, gee, if you see something, something, you got to fight it. It's like, is there a more Canadian song? Like,
Yeah, no
seriously,
kidding.
if you say something wrong, you got to write it. Raise a little hell. Let's go onward.
We're here for a good time, not a long time.
Yes. So have a good time.
The sun will shine every day.
I love that song. All right. So, what else do I have for you today?
Ray McGuire.
Pardon?
Ray McGuire.
Yes.
They're from Vancouver.
Okay. No, bad news. I don't want to do bad news right now.
No, let's skip the bad news. I don't want to do bad news. Let's talk about sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows, and something. Was that Leslie Gore? I think it was Leslie Gore.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, the rest I have is just, is bad news and whatnot. So yeah, I'm gonna take a break for that for today. Do you have anything, Mr. Grizzly?
No, not really. I have a few things going on in my personal private life, but I need to keep some things personal and private sometimes. I'm going to help a buddy later today with his studio, and got some, a busy day ahead. I'm going to, spend my holiday Monday doing work. Work, laundry, dusting, vacuuming, all the things that I normally do on a Saturday morning that I didn't do this Saturday morning. So,
I see.
First I'll take a nap, though.
Okay. Yeah, nap would be good. I might. Oh no, I don't have rehearsal today. We switched. Okay,
Holiday Monday.
I might play some tennis then today.
Is the club open?
Oh yeah, the club will be open.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not a problem. The clubhouse may not be, but the access to the courts will be.
Okay.
I did have one bit here that is not bad news, just news. The Bloc Québécois had their party convention over the weekend, and much similar to the Liberal convention, they wanted to avoid the big debates. Any contentious question they really wanted to avoid. So they rejected a debate on secularism. They twisted the proposed debate on cultural appropriation to denounce Canada's appropriation of Quebec's culture, such as, quote, the Canadian embassies who serve poutine as a great Canadian dish overseas. So yeah. And all the other, like the Bill 96 and all that, they just didn't want to discuss anything on. There was a proposal that the federal government not accepting fully everything that the government of Quebec wants to do with regard to language and whatnot would be officially an obstacle to social cohesion. So we're going to pass on debating that one too. So Blanchette didn't want to debate anything that could be remotely sticky for some reason. Interesting. Just that happened. On the provincial side, the provincial party Québec Solidaire, which is an interesting party, sort of like the Green Party is interesting. It is sovereigntist, but it has two leaders, and they're not party leaders. But like the Green Party, they're actually party spokespersons. There's one male and one female, which is sort of like the Green Party is now, because now they have co-leaders Elizabeth May and Jonathan Pedneau. So it seems to be this type of formula. So the female co-leader, Manon Massé, who is, again, when you say politics, like they're not all the same. Now she is on the sovereigntist or separatist side of the debate. But Manon Massé is the very active and well-known feminist in the province of Quebec, lesbian, was out around the time I came out, activist then, has put in the time, did the community building work. You know, we don't have similar beliefs on independence and stuff like that, but she is like among the best people, right? Really took this to heart. So it will be a loss for the party. So she's leaving. They will have the next Congress this fall, and there are two. Quebec Solidaire did pretty well in the provincial election last time. So two of their Ministre d'Assemblée Nationale (MNAs), Ruba Gazal and Christine Labrie, who represent the electoral districts of Mercier and Sherbrooke, respectively, are considering putting their hat in the ring for the position of female co-spokesperson of Quebec Solidaire Party over there. So just some news if you happen to be in La Belle Province and want to know what's going on there. And not bad news, just news.
Well, you're talking about La Belle Province. I'm reminded of a cartoon by Aislinn, who was Terry Mosher. He's the political cartoonist for the Montreal Gazette. I remember a cartoon he did in 1986, and it showed a Quebecois gentleman in 1976. He was a rather portly gentleman with a bottle of 50 in his hand and a sweatshirt that said Quebec, and he had a big fro with a giant beard, and it said "J'ai un nouvel système de gouvernement." And then 1986, it had him slick back hair, a 3-day beard, white Versace jacket, spinning his keys. He says, "J'ai un nouvel système dans mon BMW, c'est un blaupunkt." Kind of how, you know, the times had changed in that 10-year period. And there's something to that. I find that the whole sovereigntist thing sort of ebbs and flows with society. When times are good, people are like, let's just leave things be. When times are bad, the whole sovereignty movement comes up again. That being said, though, the sovereigntist movement has kind of been pretty quiet for the last, 30 years?
Yeah, somewhat, yeah.
You know, like really it's still there, but it's not this fervent thing like it once was. And I think it's probably because the province is really taking care of its own, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Quebec is one of the provinces that does the most for its people.
That's right.
Which is a nice refreshing change. But also it's, you know, when you talk about Gen Z, the kids are right. Quebecois kids are no different than Canadian kids in that they're connected to the world and they're global citizens, and you know, they have a love of French and they have a passion for French and all of that. But you know, they'll listen to music, the Latin music, and they'll listen to music in English, and they'll listen to music from around the world now, right? It's to listen or being exposed. The attitude to being exposed to a different language when I was younger was that, you know, if you spend too much time speaking in English, you're going to lose your French, you're going to lose your pride in your French. But now as a global citizen, it's like, it's the more languages you speak, the more cultures are available. You know, I can listen to music in Spanish and not understand a word and still appreciate it. But if I can actually understand the lyrics, it's so much more, right? You get what's called le sabor, the flavor of the music, you know. And then once you really, you're speaking the language, but let's say you go visit for a while and then you start, okay, there's the language I learned like formally in school, but how they're speaking it in real life. And then you get that extra flavor of sabor too. And the more so, you know, we have kids over here that are just crazy about anime and Japanese culture. We have, you know, it's the whole world is open. You don't want to have your language and your culture overwhelmed. That's true.
Yes, of course.
But other languages and threats are not other languages and cultures are not threats today like they were.
Perceived. They were once perceived as
perceived.
threats.
Yes. But I could see it back in the day. You know, we had policies of assimilation and, you know, and like surrounding people and throwing. But this, because the world has been flattened by the internet and everybody's a content creator and everybody can exchange, you know, now we're seeing, like you're saying, we're seeing rap songs with English and French together, with English and Spanish to, you know, cultural, you know, taking stuff. You got the XG or like Korean,
Kokona.
yeah,
Japanese, Korean, and English.
right.
Wrapping all three.
This is where we're going.
Yeah. Well,
This is where we're going, right?
BTS, the biggest boy band in the world, probably in history, quite frankly, from South Korea.
Right. And how many albums?
They don't sing in English.
Except for that one song, Dynamite, which came out how long? They were already well established before.
Oh, yeah.
They attempted that.
Well, the K-pop industry, and it is an industry, it's an insane industry.
Yes.
Is generating like incredible amounts of wealth. Like, it's ridiculous. BTS is the biggest thing in the world.
In the world.
In the world. Period. Everywhere they go, they sell out. Everywhere they go.
Yep. It's just
well, and it's the democratization of culture. Because it's available to anybody, anywhere, anytime. You want to learn about it, you can. If you're open to it, and I think most people are, Gen Z especially is open to it because they've been exposed to multiculturalism their entire lives, and they've had access to it online their entire lives.
Well, also like circle of friends, right?
Oh,
like yeah. Circle of friends, you have some. It's like, hey, listen, I just saw this Bollywood movie. Like, listen to this song; it's really cool. And and then you look at So You Think You Can Dance, and then they do a Bollywood number. So, I'd love to do that. That's kind of cool. It's sort of hip hoppy. Let's try that. And then you got to go deep, and you got it's just this is what it is, man.
It's humanity's coming together while there are many who are trying to drive us apart. And I feel sorry for those who are so filled with rage and hate that they feel they need to drive a wedge between the rest of us.
Yeah. But that's the thing I like. That's the thing I like, where you can turn around and you go, wow, that's so cool. Can I try? Can you show me how? Because it's cultural appropriation. No, it resonates with me.
It's sharing.
Yeah. It's sharing. I saw it's a way in. It's a, it's why not? Why not? Other good news from our athletes. Corey Connors was so close to becoming the second Canadian golfer to win a major. After 3 rounds, he was 1 stroke off the lead. Unfortunately, on the last day, had a 5 over par day and ended up in a tie for 12th.
Yeah, I saw a bit of the tournament, and they're like, "Oh, what happened there?" And my buddy's like, "Somehow he was in the sand trap, and he went to knock it out of the trap, and it got hit, and it's wedged underneath the growth and the trap. They can't even find the ball." Like, oh, that's not good.
Yeah, and that's when you're playing this, like your heart just sinks.
It's like, you're done. It's over.
Yeah,
but you got to finish the round, right?
Yeah. Yeah. We can all, I think anybody who's played any type of sport can relate.
Like, you're done, but
it happens with cameras and a big prize on the line.
Yeah. Well, hey, that shows promise for him, though, right?
Well, I mean, we've mentioned him several times this year. He's won a tournament this year.
He's still no. I can see her face. I can't think of her name right now. Local woman,
Brooke Henderson.
Thank you, Brooke Henderson. I wanted to say Bridget Henderson, and I knew that was wrong.
But I mean, no, he's still doing very, very, very well this year. I mean, he's ranked 29th in the world ranking at this year, and he's number 30 on the money leaders board. He's made $3 million this year already.
Damn, good for him.
In prize money. So I mean, he's doing well.
Pro golfers really do have a pretty sweet life. I mean, what do? I play golf for a living, and I get paid handsomely to do it. So I'm outside in nature all the time, playing a sport that is, although they do train, they do lift weights, they do cardio, they do all of that now. They are professional athletes after all, but they're not, it's not like they're hockey players where somebody's trying to knock your teeth out. Right? Winning a tournament
unless you're playing against Happy Gilmore.
Well, what's the old saying? You got to eat a lot of lumber to win the Stanley Cup, right?
Yep.
That's not the case with golf. There's no body checking.
And now, of course, one of my favorite sports, tennis news. Lots of success for Canadian tennis players this last week. We have a doubles team. Well, in one tournament, actually, we had two doubles teams make the semifinals. So we have a guy named Roy Stepanov. These are all names that you will probably be hearing a lot of in the future. And Benjamin Sigouin, both of them were playing at the Pensacola tournament, the M25, and both of them made the semifinals in the doubles tournament there. We have a new person on the scene, about maybe 1 or 2 years, named Juan Carlos Manuel Aguilar. And he also made a semifinal in a doubles tournament, this one in Jalapa, Mexico. And on the same weekend, Louise Kwong, who we've talked about several times as well on the show, because pretty much lately every tournament she's entering in doubles with her partner. Her last name's Yulyashenko, who's from the United States. They either reached the final or the semifinal. So again, they won. They were finalists in Monastir in Tunisia. So there you go.
Cool.
Our tennis players are doing us proud all over and at all levels. So there we go, okay, Mr. Grizzly. That's all I have for today.
Yeah, I'd say that's about
All right.
about it. I just have a photo here of Kiki Palmer in a lovely blue dress.
Oh, girl, you are hurting me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Just thought I'd put that up because that's a little bit of sunshine that everybody should have in their life.
Oh, damn. That's working that. What was I going to say? You're working that dress so hard, you're hurting me. That's what she's doing. That's what she is doing with that thing. Oof. Dang, girl. Whew. That's a dress. All right. Well, kids, that's the end of this episode of the Daily Beaver podcast. We hope you love listening to us because we love making this for you. And thank you for joining us on this holiday.
Thank you indeed.
Thank you. Remember that sharing is caring and word of mouth is priceless. So let your peeps know about us because democracy is something that you do. You know what? I would like to try an experiment if you're in on it with me because we've been talking about letter writing. But, you know, I've just sort of mentioned general things. But given that Mr. Grizzly has been mentioning a few times that it's our foreign ownership laws in media that have been an issue, what if all of us wrote one letter to our MP?
Well, 3 emails changed things in New Brunswick.
Yeah, exactly. Saying that we want the government to look at foreign ownership of our media to change it.
Yeah.
What if?
Couldn't hurt.
We all did it.
And remember, it costs you nothing.
Petitions are one thing, but what if we all did it? Costs you nothing. You don't even have to put a stamp on it.
Nope.
But what if we did? Just if you're in, how would we let people know? Let us know.
We'll work on that. I got to post tomorrow. I have to be in the office tomorrow, but we'll have time to do a show in the morning, of course. But I have to post I got to get it done this evening. I have to post the bidding for the shave because I want this gone. I'm tired of it. It's so much work. I did nothing to it this morning. Can you tell? I'm looking rather almost like a homeless person, and no knocks against homeless people, but a beard's so much work, man. When I had a full head of hair, when I had a mullet, I didn't put this much effort into it. So I'll try and post the things about. I'm not going to go with 100 different styles. I think I'll go with like 3 different styles, and then I am going to go with I'll wear the Salvador Dali, right, like this for 5 days for $500 if we can raise $500. And I might even get my office involved. We'll see, but I got to run by a few.
Yeah, no, let's get let's get everyone involved. You should actually see if you can.
I might reach out
Dean's show and actually put it up there to the wider network.
I was just about to say that.
Let's do some good.
Talk to Dean and see if we can make something happen, so that we can see about how much money we can raise for Cornerstone.
Yeah, let's do some good.
Yeah,
let's not put an upper limit. Let's see what we can do. Yeah.
So we'll have to reach out to Dean at some point. If you're in touch with him today, I got a million things I got to get done. So maybe we can do something later in the week. We'll figure it out.
Okay. Here we go. If you do happen to write the letter, if you're in on this, just send us a little email when you have.
Yeah, let us know.
truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com. And you don't even have to write an email. Just put in the subject line, I did it.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
That's it. And just let us know so we can get a count of how many. But let's see if we can use this little community of ours to try and make a little something happen.
There's a couple
You never know.
emails that need a response. I don't know if you've checked them recently.
No, I haven't checked them
Okay,
recently.
you might check the email. There's a couple of emails in there that could use your response. I thought you're the writer. I'm just the tech guy, but there's a couple of emails. Yeah, we should respond to. Remember, folks, this Saturday is Pubcast Day.
Ah, yes, Pubcast Day. I'm so excited.
Welcome to the place where everyone knows your name, where everyone's your friend, where good times are had by all. Sit back, relax, pour yourself a beverage and enjoy our company. I know we'll certainly enjoy yours. Welcome to the True North Eager Beaver Pubcast. Once a month, we gather at the Lieutenant's Pump at 361 Elgin Street in downtown Ottawa, Canada's capital city, bringing you joy and happiness all day long.
Yes, I can't wait for that. And also, don't forget, on the evening of the 29th, we will be taking over Kit James's slot to present our Alberta election special. We're hoping to get one more show in for you before we do it because we had hoped to do one last week, and then with schedules changed and that kind of stuff. But hopefully we can get one more update to you before the actual show. But the show will be on the 29th, probably starting, I would say, maybe around 9:30 our time. I hope to maybe get there a little earlier, but I have a rehearsal that night, so I may not be back before 9 for that. But yes, the 29th, please listen to that.
I will have an ASMR show tonight, by the way, for those who are curious. I didn't last week because I had a raging migraine and my allergies were kicking my butt, and I had to take the night off. But I will be back this week, give you at least 30 minutes of soothing talk about mental health and how we can take care of each other.
Mm-hmm. And on that note, Mr. Grizzly, because you mentioned messages that we received, there's one I did receive. I don't know if it may have been doubled up in the mail, but I also received it via DM on Twitter. And I asked for permission to read it, so I got it.
Okay.
And I'd like to mention it. I was going to close the show, but you prompted me by saying that, and I'd like to talk about it. Hey, Mr. Beaver, just listen to the Thursday pod. Just wanted to toss something out about how you ended the show. I'm one of the people you were talking to, and I wanted to give you a bit of perspective. I've dealt with depression and anxiety my whole life. My wife and I were expecting twins in March of 2022. They showed up in December 2021 and spent 3 months in hospital, different hospitals in different cities for a good chunk of it. That took a toll emotionally, financially, and physically. It put me in a financial hole I've had trouble climbing out of, and my life hasn't calmed down at all since my boys arrived. I've been struggling lately, and I haven't been able to ask for help. The part I struggle with the most is how much I'm needed. I need to be present and help my wife with the twins. I need to work to keep the lights on and a roof over my head on top of everything else expected out of me. It's such a huge burden to bear, and not being able to shoulder it all makes me feel like a failure. And that maybe my absence would be tough for everyone short term, but they'd all be better off in the end. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I just took it the wrong way because I'm stuck in my own misery, but don't tell us you need us or expect anything from us. Just tell us that you love us. I'd like to add my response. Thank you a million times for this comment and for sharing.
Mm-hmm.
I welcome it. I hear what you are saying, and I accept it. I want you to know that my intent when I say you are needed is not that you are needed to do stuff for me, but rather you are more than just loved. You are also important, recognized, appreciated, and wanted. That said, I know that without me saying that particular part out loud, that bit of shorthand can come across as pressure. I take
Not
the
what it's
note.
supposed to be.
Yep. I take the note. Thanks for getting me to check my blind spot. And I'm sending you all the love. I appreciate the support you give us, and I see you. I truly hope that with each passing day, the misery lightens. Please be kind to and gentle with yourself, dear one. And as requested, I love you. All right? If anybody's feeling that,
Yeah.
anybody's feeling that.
And I can understand that pressure that one would feel by being told you're needed. And it's easy enough to misinterpret what we say, and it's easy enough for us to say it and it be misinterpreted, because we're only human and we're going to make mistakes. But when we say we need you, it's because we want you.
Yeah. And maybe want is the better word.
We want you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. Note taken. And thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Because we can learn every day from everybody, especially if you're open to wanting to learn. And I am. I'm going to make a million mistakes from here till the day that I go up the chimney. But I'm going to try and continue to learn and build and be better every day. And some days I'm going to fail miserably. And I will have more failures than I will have successes because I'm human. And I'm not that smart. So I'm going to make a lot of mistakes. But I'm going to try. I'm going to give you my, okay, do we do the Yoda thing? There is no try. There is only do or do not. Yeah, well, do it and not succeed and learn. That's just, I never fail. I only succeed or learn.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. As Kit Jen says, Eeyore rules apply. Will still sit with you in your sadness and darkness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. All right, kids. As I said, we do love to hear from you. So please reach us on our Facebook at True North Eager Beaver, our Twitter feed at True Eager. Slide into our DMs by email via truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com. Let us know how we come across.
And if you're struggling, and if you need some peace of mind this evening at 9:30 p.m., I will be doing an ASMR mental health chat where I talk about what I go through and how I cope, what works for me, and maybe it could work for you too, delivered in a soft, soothing, relaxing voice to try and bring you some peace of mind.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Check in, drop out as you need. No pressure.
Exactly.
It's there.
It's there. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't even have to watch it live. You can watch it later.
Yep.
If you know.
Yep. Did you include the link, Mr. Grizzly?
No, just give me a second and I will.
Okay.
I'll put the link in.
Make sure that the kids have it. Why not also subscribe to our True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube channel? That helps us out big time. If you happen to be listening on other platforms, if you could take a moment to stroll on over there and click the subscribe button, we would really appreciate that. And as Kit Elaine says, please smash that button. Yes. We can't do this without you or your kind and generous support. So if you feel that we've done a particularly good show, if you're watching, please scan the QR code that is by Mr. Grizzly's head. Or if you're listening, go to our coffee page. That's coffee, ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver to make your donation. It would be really, really, really appreciated. Thank you so much. From the Beaver Lodge, this is your Eager Beaver saying until next time, dear kids, it can be a tough world out there, so please be kind to and gentle with yourself. I know I've said it already, but it applies. Again, it's okay. Mr. Grizzly, do you have some words of wisdom for us today?
Yeah, and I'm trying to put the thought together so it sounds coherent. It's about gratitude, and sometimes things will come along in your life that will be blessings. You might not recognize them right away, and it might not be exactly what you thought it was going to be or how it turned out, but it's still a blessing nonetheless. So try and express your gratitude to the blessings that you were given, even though they might come delivered in a package that you were not necessarily expecting or planning to receive. When you recognize that it is a blessing, that it is a gift, show your gratitude. Show your gratitude. That's all I got.
Mr. Grizzly, please roll the credits.
Yes, sir.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver media podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and The Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
Y'all didn't think your queen was going to leave you without that bling, did you? Did you? Come on.
Of course not.
Bye, kitties.
All righty. See ya.
Bye.